I think from the township's perspective, we're not giving up anything. It's not binding, but I think that it's worth another shot if we're hearing that they already, I mean, look, it was a precondition of mediation last time that they had to come with settlement authority of up to 1 million. Didn't mean they were going to use it, but they had to be prepared to do it. I think the closer we can get the parties together, the more pressure there's going to be on Boucher and James to have to settle.
Any comments? If we go to the second mediation route, what's our sort of worst case scenario then?
Well, there's no downside other than that, we're obviously we're pushing the trial back a little bit, but it's not binding. So we're not committing to accept what they say. We're not, we can easily say, you're recommending 600,000. We don't want that number. We're leaving. And that's fine. That's all right. So I don't see a downside.
Yeah. What if, and this is more, we go through the process and we're at an amount that is the one that we're like coughing, but we might take if we just don't, we're fearful of going to trial. We still would get an admission of guilt out of this, right? Meaning if they settled with us, we could claim that they failed us, right?
That's not really the way it works. Typically, when you come out of any settlement, which this is really just a person who's helping to facilitate a settlement, there usually is no acknowledgement of guilt. I've not seen one where they actually do admit guilt. That having been said, I think the situation is going to speak for itself.
Yeah, and it's not like they have a brand reputation anymore.
They don't have the brand, they don't have it at all.
Right. I guess I'm not seeing a downside.
I mean, I don't know, Craig, I might have not heard you say it to the whole board, but you did say to me when we were talking on the phone that their counsel said they're closer to us than we think. So
yes, that's a very good point.
And hearing that and knowing that
Good evening, and we are doing an interview as part of Lower Makefield Township's, I believe this is for the Environmental Advisory Committee. And welcome, can you hear us?
Yes, can hear you perfectly.
Yes, you can. Thank you. Excellent. Thank you so much for applying for this committee. I am trying to get your resume back up here, but if you just want to give me a little bit of information about why it is that you want to be part of the Lower Makefield Township Environmental Advisory Committee.
Sure. I've been involved in environmental aspects since college. I started a club in college that took leftover food, and we were part of a nonprofit, but we took leftover food from the kitchens and from the different businesses and food chains that were on campus, and we brought it to homeless shelters in the area. After that, I worked in environmental consulting. I got my MBA in sustainable business, so I'm interested in kind of how business and sustainability can work together to make communities stronger. And because I currently work in environmental field in New Jersey, actually, in the Department of Environmental Protection, and I really want to be part of trying to make communities more sustainable, more resilient, and stronger. And someone suggested that I look into this, so I thought it would be a good opportunity, good fit.
Excellent. Thank you. Do any of the other supervisors have any questions at this time? Supervisor Weiss?
I'm happy that you applied for the position, and I read your resume, your CV, and I think you'd be a great fit. Hopefully, the rest of the board will agree with us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sure, might as well
Sure.
hit you with a few questions.
Go for it.
So, I'm a former member of the EAC, so I can give you a little flavor of with that group. I'm also in the environmental industry. Actually, I recognize a few things on your resume here.
Nice.
What is it that you do with the New Jersey DEP currently?
I currently work in the Office of Budget and Finance, and I oversee federal grants that come in for our different programs. I make sure that those grants are utilized correctly. I help the different programs to apply for new grant funding when it comes out every year. And I help just kind of manage the overall workflow that our office has.
That's interesting, because we have folks on our EAC that have generally are environmental professionals or have a very strong background, whether it's at one of the DEPs or consulting or land mitigation stuff, or master gardeners. They're all very more so than a lot of our groups. They're very professional. I'm curious, with that background specifically, what ideas you might have where you could apply your knowledge for town.
Yeah, I think that gives me a lot of insight into what can be done for different environmental programs, because I do have the ability to look into like every program that we apply for, and I get to talk with the program project managers and the team leads. So I get to learn a lot about what like New Jersey is doing for environmental protection, and I think it gives me a lot of good ideas. And also, I like the idea of having kind of like a budget and finance background, because I think economic is a strong pillar of sustainability, and it kind of balances social and environmental pillars of sustainability.
You're singing my music. I like it. I'll keep it brief. So thank you very much for applying, and thank you for taking the time tonight to talk with us. I look forward to speaking with you more in the future.
Thank you.
So here's the questions I'm not allowed to ask, but I'm dying to anyway. Now, if a member of the EAC, would you support the requirement that the Trenton Mercer Airport complete a proper environmental impact assessment for their expansion in the Trenton Mercer Airport?
I think
You can't answer that. You're
I
not
can't.
allowed to.
okay.
No. The second one, you're not allowed to answer. I told you weren't allowed to answer these because you can't be in conflict with Mr. La Tourette,
Okay.
the administrator for New Jersey DEP. But the second one is, would you support and do you believe a comprehensive analysis of our air quality post Trenton Mercer Airport expansion is necessary? And again, you're not allowed to answer that question because of your current position. But if you cough or nod affirmingly, that would work too.
Okay.
And I'll accept that as an answer. Those are all the questions
Okay.
I had for you. I look forward to working with you. Thank you so much for volunteering, and we very much appreciate it. Thanks,
I
man.
appreciate
Thanks,
it.
Matt. We appreciate it. You'll be hearing from us soon.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks. And with that being said, we can move Matt out of the room.
Sticks. I was going to ask him that.
There we go. I believe we're going to roll right into the general meeting. Okay. Excellent. If everybody is here, we are ready to go. Welcome to the audience. Tonight's Lower Makefield Township Board of Supervisors meeting for Wednesday, September 7th, 2022. I ask that we all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. All right, we will do a quick roll call. Supervisor Weiss.
Here.
Supervisor Grenier.
Here.
Supervisor Lewis.
Sure.
And Supervisor Blondie will not be with us tonight. Just a reminder, public comment on agenda items will be taken as each item is discussed. Community announcements. During this portion of the agenda, residents and youth organizations may call in to make a special announcement or contact township at admin@lmt.org to request a special announcement to be added to the agenda. The Lower Makefield Township Farmers Market is back at Charlene Farms. They will be there every Thursday from 3:30 to 6:30, June through September. Lower Makefield Township's Park and Rec Department will be hosting Zumba After Dark with Sandy and Janine. This event will take place on Friday, September 16th, 2022 at 8 p.m. in the LMT parking lot, 1050 Edgewood Road, Yardley, PA 19067. September 18th is the 19th annual 9/11 Garden of Reflection 5K Run Walk at Memorial Park. This race benefits the Lower Makefield Township Garden of Reflection and the Reflection Endowment Fund. To register, visit www.9-11memorialgarden.org. The Friends of 5 Mile Woods will be offering nature walks to 5 Mile Woods Nature Preserve on Sunday, September 18th, starting at 12 p.m. Trails have uneven surfaces, so please wear sturdy walking shoes. The EAC will be hosting a lecture series Thursday, September 22nd and 29th, all about electricity, called You Flip the Switch and the Lights Better Come On, how electricity gets from generator to the house. Thanks again, Lee. And the styrofoam recycling event will be held at the Township Building, 1100 Edgewood Road, Yardley, PA 19067 on Saturday, October 29th from 10 a.m. to noon. Bring your styrofoam, wine corks, amber white plastic pill containers, and alkaline household batteries. I believe we have a couple of other announcements.
One more
Supervisor Lewis?
announcement, yes. Although I do have to collect all of those corks from the wine for the recycling event. On a more somber note, Sunday is September 11th, and it's the 21st anniversary. And Lower Makefield has continues to deal with the aftermath of that event, and we continue to remember. And we'll be remembering in two ceremonies on September 11th. The very first will be in the morning. It's going to be at 8:30 a.m. It's designed to coincide with the timing of events that occurred that morning. There's a second ceremony that will be held in the evening, traditional evening ceremony, which will be at 7. You're more than welcome, and I would encourage everyone to attend either ceremony. It's important to remember that day and what happened and how we've changed as a country. So look forward to seeing all my fellow supervisors there as well. Thanks.
Excellent. Any other community announcements? Okay, hearing none, consider approval of minutes for August 17th, 2022.
So move. Second.
Motion made by Supervisor Weiss, seconded by Supervisor Grenier. Any discussion? Any public comment? Hearing none, call to question. All those in favor, raise your hand and say aye. Aye. Motion carries 4-0. Engineers report. Mr. Pockel, good to see you.
Yes, thank you. Good to
Take
be
it
here.
away.
I'll jump right into the agenda items. The first item is to consider change order number one for the 2022 road program to James D. Morrissey in the amount of $2,258.20. This change order was the result of a drainage pipe from a resident's sump pump being directly connected to one of the inlets that were being replaced, or the inlet top that was being replaced. The connection had to be moved further down in the inlet so that it could be connected directly to the inlet. We didn't want to cut it short and have it drain over the guy's lawn and then out across the sidewalk, because in the winter that would freeze and that would be a safety issue. So this was work that was previously unforeseen, discovered during construction. We contacted and have been in contact with the resident. That's a 296 Cinnabar Lane. We offered them the opportunity to have their contractor come out and provide a price. That price was rejected by the homeowner, and in talking with us, they've verbally committed to reimbursing the township for this change order. So we're recommending, the work was completed. And so we're recommending change order number one in the amount of $2,258.20.
Mr. Chair, I move that we consider change order number one for the 2022 road program to James D. Morrissey in the amount of $2,258.20.
I hear a second.
Second.
Motion made by Supervisor Lewis, seconded by Supervisor Grenier. The address again was 292 or 296 Cinnabar?
296.
296, okay. Any other discussion?
Question for our solicitor. The verbal agreement to cover that, is that sufficient?
If it's reduced to writing by email or some other form, I think that's the best way to do it. That's what I would do.
Okay.
As we get that done,
Yeah.
I'm okay with it.
Any other comments? Any public comment? Hearing none, call to question. All those in favor, raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, motion carries 4-0.
Thank you. Next item is to consider pay application number two for the 2022 road program to James D. Morrissey in the amount of $200,640.62. As I'm sure you're all aware of, the work is progressing on the road program. This payment would cover a portion of ADA ramps that are being installed, curb that's being installed with those ADA ramps, and also inlet repairs. They've moved beyond that and have started milling and paving some of the roadways. That is not covered in this pay application. That would be covered in the next pay application. So the work is progressing beyond what is included in this pay certificate. So therefore, we're recommending payment in the amount of $200,640.62.
Do I hear a motion?
Move.
Second.
Motion made by Supervisor Grenier, seconded by Supervisor Lewis. Just to clarify, the payment is for basically ADA ramp installation and then curb rebuild, and then they come back and do the milling and repave the road, correct?
Yeah, that's what this pay application includes: the ADA ramps and inlet repairs that are being done in advance of milling and paving the roadway.
Cool. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
How are things going? I know there was maybe some hiccups up front because there was high volume of work starting all at the same time at the beginning of the school year. How are things going now that buses are running and everything else? Now that we're done with the week of school.
I haven't heard really many complaints or any complaints as far as interference with the work. They haven't been out there the last 2 days because of the rain. But they've actually asked to work on Saturday of this week to catch up because they've lost some time with the rain. But from what I understand, that I haven't received any complaints on.
Are we communicating with the school district? I know milling hasn't started yet. That's going to be the real issue.
They were very cooperative, and they also scheduled to accommodate people moving and relocating their cars during the work.
So everything seemed to work out pretty well.
Any other questions?
There's one more on the 22. Is Upper Hilltop on this year's list or no?
It is.
It is, and that's going to get a milling and full replacement, just like every other road.
Exactly, yes.
Okay, because I had a member of the community from Upper Hilltop ask me, and I'm like, oh, I should have.
Yeah, because of where it is located within the township, it's a little further north to the township, in the township. So the contractor is proceeding from the southern eastern portion of the township and moving north. So that'll be
The
towards
very
the end, but
last
it-
or near the end, right?
Maple Vale is Maple Vale and Meadow neighborhood are the last two to be paved, but yeah, Upper
Okay.
Hilltop will be,
Same basic neighborhood.
yes.
Yeah. Yeah, awesome.
Any other questions? Any public comment? Hearing none, call to question. All those in favor, raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed. Motion carries 4-0. And finally, C.
C is to consider the escrow release number 1 for the Prickett Preserve Development to ELU DeLuca Yardley LLC in the amount of $754,695.00. This primarily covers installation of underground stormwater management systems. We've been on site and inspecting those and making sure that they are installed as per the plan. And they have. There's some storm pipe associated with those basins that is being installed, erosion and sediment control measures, earthwork on site. All of that is covered in this first escrow release. They're proceeding with the work and have completed the work that is covered in this escrow release, and therefore we're recommending a release of escrow in the amount of $754,695. There would still be in excess of $5 million held in escrow on this development.
Excellent. Do I hear a motion?
Moved.
Second?
Second.
Motion made by Supervisor Weiss, seconded by Supervisor Grenier. Discussion? And,
Has the County Conservation District come out and done any inspections on any of this stuff yet?
I haven't received any reports from Rich Krassel from the Conservation District, but I can't imagine that a project of this size that they haven't at least been out there, but
There's been some
There-
large mounds of dirt out there.
they've been busy just like everybody else has, but I haven't received any news from the Conservation District, and usually that's a good sign.
We had any issue, I mean, when you're moving that much dirt, have we had any issues with, let's say, tree protection with some of our bigger trees and with the barns out there, making sure that there's adequate space from heavy equipment and all that?
We haven't had any issues with tree protection. They established the limits of their earth disturbance at the beginning of the job and have held to that. We've had some issues with dust that we've stayed on top of them with, as far as getting water trucks and stoning areas that otherwise wouldn't normally be stone in order to help with the dust out there. And I think that that's helped. So, yeah.
any other questions? Any public comment? Hearing none, call to question. All those in favor, raise their hand and say aye. Aye. Opposed?
Nay.
Motion carries 3-1. Thank you, Andy.
Thank you.
Do you want to roll into project updates as well? Does anybody have any project updates regarding Sandy Run Memorial Park, multi-use? Yeah,
Andy, if you don't mind, Mr.
oh, yeah, absolutely. Yep, it's open. Sure.
I think, what was the last meeting? I think we had heard that the bike path had gotten their permits issued. Woodside Bike Path.
The Woodside Road Bike Path, yes, we do have permits. We're issuing, or it's out for bid on Penn Bid now. And we're opening bids next Wednesday, so we expect to have a recommendation at the next meeting for Woodside Road Bike Path, for South Drive culvert replacement, for Maple Vale drainage improvements, and for the administration building renovations.
For Maple Vale, well, is that inclusive of
That's just phase 1.
just phase 1? So the
So the-
Maple Vale side of
Right, that would be the southern leg of Maple Vale Drive as it connects to Taylorsville Road.
And the,
And the other one, actually, we just received the permit from DEP yesterday.
oh,
So we'll be putting that out for bid as well.
what permit is that specific? Is that the stream cleaning?
Yes, yeah,
You're gonna-
and adding an outfall onto the.
Right on the
stream.
highway.
Yeah, right.
Interesting. Let's move it. So we think that'll be constructed this year?
I think that we can put that out for bid, and that would be a nice project where, because there's not a lot of earth disturbance or stabilization required, that might be a nice job to be completed over the winter, as long as the ground isn't frozen, and actually, a frozen ground in this case might help, because then you can get equipment across grass areas to clean out the stream. So I think that's probably the schedule for that is
And just for people watching at home that have an interest in this, because I will get phone calls about this. if
okay.
I Speak. The winter portion of that, it would just be the phase 2 that's on the
Correct.
side.
Yes.
Whereas the phase 1, which you already have your program, that's gonna happen before the paving also happens there.
Yes.
Ripping up pavement, put in.
Right. It's our intention to present the bid results at the next meeting for phase 1. And then, as a result of that, move right into construction. Yeah,
Thanks, Andy.
sure.
Any other supervisor question on project updates?
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Memorial Park, a couple meetings back, we had spoken about some of the materials that had been stone, whatnot, that had been left over in the most eastern field, wide open field. And
Yes. So I'm in discussion with the contractor on that. The last correspondence I got from them was that they had gone out and addressed all the punch list items. We went out and inspected it. They have not done that. I don't want to call them back to go out there prior to September 11th. So, I want to get the work done, but I want it scheduled after September 11th. So
Understood. And so that means we still have money in escrow.
we're still holding over $11,000 on that project.
Along those lines, so the other elements in the punch list, have we had water pooling on the courts at all? Is that have been resolved?
I haven't checked it from the last, from the rain event
Yeah,
on
we haven't
Monday.
really had-
But
Yeah,
but prior to that, I have not received, I haven't witnessed any ponding that is out of the nature of, typical tennis court installations. And it looks like the underdrain that we installed in the north east corner of those courts is working. So
and I've heard universally a very, very good response from residents who are using the courts. I have not yet gotten a chance to play. But one member had said the door that opens into, so you know,
yeah, at the pickleball court,
yeah,
there's basically the gate in the fence was installed and is not exactly plumb. And so it is prohibiting the gate from closing correctly. And that's caused an issue with stripping the paint off of the post where the latch connects to the gate. And so that's on the punch list, as for them to, tighten up the top hinge of that gate,
okay.
make the gate plumb, and then repaint that.
Because I've heard that to get into the courts, you actually interrupt somebody playing.
Well, that's based on the location of
Right.
and that was, a design that was set way back when. So,
Would have been a design trade-off, I understand. Yeah.
right, yeah. So,
Okay.
I don't know that it interrupts play. It's located at a point where it's behind the end line and outside of the sidelines. But yes.
Well, I will say that the person who brought that to my attention is extraordinarily athletic, and she could probably covers a lot of ground.
Yep.
So.
Right. Yep.
Thank you. Any other comment? Yes.
Just driving in here, anyone driving by the township building will notice that the walkway over here is under construction. I've gotten questions about what the big orange and black stuff is. Yeah, the compost filter stuff,
Yes,
we know.
right.
How's that coming along from your?
That work is outside of our purview. We're not involved with the construction management of that project. So we
Who's
haven't,
managing that for us.
I believe that's a third-party consultant that was, it might be Panoni is managing the construction of it. That was put out,
Who's managing the walk? Sorry, Andy.
a bike path. Well, TPD was the design engineer, I believe, and then Panoni is the construction manager.
Yeah.
Again, I'm not involved with that project, so I'm not.
Do we know and this isn't you, Andy, but do we know when they expect to be done? I know they're moving now. Walkways coming.
Any other supervisor questions regarding project updates? Is there a public comment? Do you want to comment, sir? Sure. You want to just state your name and address for the record, please?
It's 247 Truman Way. Just a quick question. On item G, that Regency at Yardley pedestrian improvements, that's for the improvements along Big Oak Road. Is that
Correct.
correct?
Thank you. Any other public comment? Anybody on the line? Hearing none, we are moving off project updates. We are moving over to Public Works. We have a couple of different requests here for authorization of advertisement for leaf collection contractors. Do you want to have Derek come up?
Derek, yeah, why don't you come up and do those? Wherever you
Or you
want.
can
Podium,
sit.
Whatever
podium
mic
sit,
works.
it's more comfortable. Yes.
Microphone works.
That's all right.
Is that,
Hear me,
is that,
guys.
is that microphone on?
Sure,
Yeah,
yeah,
it sounds like it is. All right, thank you. Want to just start with A?
sure. First thing
Shouldn't
that I
Derek
have,
introduce himself?
Yeah, absolutely. If you
Oh.
want to, I think
Don't
this
know
is
who
your
I am
first,
yet?
yeah.
Yeah, this is your first time.
2.5
first.
weeks here.
Yeah, sure. If you want to introduce yourself as the first meeting here.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, man, that's harsh.
I missed it.
He's already roasting you here.
I'm Derek Fuller. I'm the new Public Works Director here. 2.5 weeks in, and I'm still here. Everything's good. Everyone's great here, so it's a great place to work, and thank you for the opportunity.
Awesome. And thank you for working with the paving guys and the police to accommodate the repaving of different roads. Thanks for being involved in that.
Not a problem. That's why I'm here. The first item I'm requesting for is the authorization to advertise for the bid for leaf collection contractors. They are our third-party contractor, independent contractors that help and take routes up to actually collect and recycle the leaves for us. That's something we've done in the past that has been done for years here, so I'm requesting to do that again. Without them, we couldn't get it done, so that's the first item I'm having.
You want a motion to do that then?
Sure.
Mr.
Right.
Chair, I move that we authorize advertisement to bid for leaf collection contractors.
I'll second.
Motion made by Supervisor Lewis, seconded by Supervisor Weiss. Any discussion?
And so just so people watching at home, we're just putting it out to bid. We're not awarding it to anyone.
Correct.
That is correct.
Generally, you'll get 4 or 5 respondents who will then be, the work be parceled out. Stuff.
Correct.
Including in-house.
In-house crews, yeah, this is to help our in-house crews. We just don't have the manpower equipment, so.
The other thing too, this year was a very hot summer. In my understanding, the leaves are going to drop sooner. Have you factored that into your plan for?
We did. We're actually starting to bring our in-house equipment in early to get it serviced, to get it on the road faster. We're trying as best we can to get the contractors on board too, to help us. We have that on our schedule. We're aware of it, and we're going to be on the road as soon as possible.
In the past years, we've had it the reverse where we had all the rain. And so if you were somebody, let's say you were the kind of person who was lazy and didn't like start raking till like, I don't know, a week before the date was, right? And that was near Christmas, right? When your pickup was. should I be planning to figure that for Thanksgiving, or is it a month, or is it 2
We're-
weeks or?
We're working on our schedule now I think we do 2 rounds here. We're
Mhm.
working on our schedule now. So once we'll have that published out on the Facebook page and things like that, we'll have a better idea. But what we're gonna do is be fluid and have it as a typical start date. And then if we need to push that up due to early fall of leaves and people collecting them earlier, we're gonna push it up 2 weeks early. Or 3 weeks, however the trees respond. So it's kind of fluid right now until we start seeing the change and go from there, but we're gonna be ready on our side.
Awesome. Yeah.
Any other questions? Hearing none, call to question. All those in favor, say aye, raise your hand. Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0. Next one.
Next item, no one wants to talk about it yet, but it's the request again to authorize advertisement to bid for our snowplow contractors. Again, these are our third-party contractors that we bring in to assist our crews. We just don't have the equipment or manpower. They help us get the township done in a quicker amount of time to clear the roads for the residents. Again, a practice that has been done in the past. We get about 4 or 5 contractors on board to help our crews out. So this is, again, just a request to advertise to get the bids in to award later on.
Your motion?
Oh, so moved.
Second.
Motion made by Supervisor Lewis, seconded by Supervisor Weiss. Any discussion?
Should we tell him now what happens when it snows?
I don't want to know.
Any comments, public, online? Hearing none. All those in favor, raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0. Last but not least,
And the final one is a consider award of the 2022-2023 Bucks County Consortium salt bid to Morton Salt. Again, we're going to purchase, just like we do our aggregate supplies through the Bucks County Consortium. Morton Salt was the low bid. They will be furnishing and delivering the salt to our silo for storage. The price has gone up just like everything else. It's approximately about $10 more a ton than we paid last year. But again, they were the low bid from the consortium. I believe they had about 5 or 6 bidders at the time.
do I hear a motion?
I move that we award the 2022-2023 Bucks County salt bid to Morton Salt for use in Lower Makefield Township.
Motion made by Supervisor Lewis, seconded by Supervisor Weiss. Any discussion?
So with salts, we have either straight salts or we put down our solution depending on what the conditions are going to be. Do they differentiate or build in a price based off of that, or are they just, you're going to get some volume price?
So I don't know if you're looking at the breakdown of the Bucks County. Is that the one you're looking at?
I'm actually got Doylestown Borough Public Works is the
Yeah, that's who runs the consortium for that one. So we just buy direct salt. The township has not brined. We make our own brine in-house. That was a past practice and we have the equipment to do it. That hasn't been done for the past few years, just for, I think, manpower reasons. So we're going to try to start that practice again. But we have the equipment to make our own brine in-house. So we actually take the salt, dump it in the brine machine, add water, make the solution. So we do not buy pre-brined equipment. We buy straight salt from Morton.
and brine would be higher volume because you got to add water and that just takes more volume.
Yeah, if you don't have the equipment, which is very expensive, the township purchased years ago, obviously you have to buy it. So we have the luxury to make it.
How's the equipment doing? That's the big question.
Let you know in a few weeks.
Give us a heads up.
Any other comments? Hearing none, call to question. All those in favor, raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 4-0. Thank you very much, Derek.
Thank you.
Thanks, Derek.
Thank you, sir.
Moving on to agenda item number 9. Chief's report, take it away, sir.
Yeah, item number A is consider approval of Titan Industrial Services to apply a high friction surface to Edgewood Road westbound at Sandy Run in the amount of $19,950. If you recall, we discussed this and the price was a little higher and we got it a little lower because it's a piggyback off of PennDOT bids. And they're doing work for PennDOT. So they hope to be able to have this work or have this friction surface in place by October. So,
I'll make the motion to approve Titan Industries to apply high friction surface to Edgewood Road, westbound Sandy Run, the amount of $19,950.
I'll second.
Motion made by Supervisor, Wilt, seconded by Supervisor Lewis. I mean, obviously, this is gonna make a huge difference there, right?
Yeah, yeah, I hope, hopefully, it'll protect the cars that are trying to stop coming over that hill.
Have we had
We haven't had any accidents at all.
no incidents there or anything? So this is just gonna
Watch
add to the safety piece of it.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Any other questions?
Will drivers notice anything about the
I
surface?
don't believe so. I don't
If they
believe they'll
stop.
even hear anything. I think it's only when they brake that they'll feel that friction and it'll stop.
It's supposed to, decrease stopping distance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
High friction.
So like tacky on.
Yeah,
the tire.
yeah, I believe so, yeah.
Cool. Any other comments?
Do we have a, I don't know if warranty is the right word, but like a O&M contract with these, how long is it supposed to last and all that?
I don't know. I don't have the answer to that. I don't know.
We're just talking about salting and everything else. It's got me thinking about
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
everything else that comes with that. I'm totally fine with it. I'm just curious about
How long the application lasts?
exactly. And, obviously it's gonna be wear and tear and we'll have to deal with it. So,
Mhm.
Yeah.
so all in now with Sandy Run, that's another 20K or so plus whatever it's gonna be in the future, some frequency, right?
Right, right. And I could try to get you that total figure of what we paid out for Sandy Run. I'll research that tomorrow with Allison and see if we can come up with that.
Any?
If you want to know.
Is that it for recommendations now?
As far as I know, yeah, that's about it. Yeah.
So we've had school start, and last time I know there was some concern, and then folks were out there monitoring, so officers were out there, and then we trimmed bushes, and it seemed like that fixed everything. Right. We don't have any more line of sight issues, any other,
Well, we don't, but a lot of that shrubbery and all is starting to grow back.
yeah.
So we're gonna have Derek go out there and take another look and trim it down a little more. But if you remember, we cut both circle areas, especially on Skylar, coming down and going around the circle. And you couldn't see up Edgewood Road in either direction. So that was
Mhm.
very dangerous. to approach that circle. Very, very dangerous when you approach that circle. So we did have to take some trees down and a lot of shrubbery around that area down. And we also cleared Edgewood Road of trees that were hanging over Edgewood Road prior to the railroad tracks. So when you're approaching one circle, you have a clear sight distance of the other circle up the hill and vice versa when you're traveling, which makes it a lot safer if you could see so that far in advance. So and we'll stay on top of that. Yeah.
I have not gotten, and I asked the other supervisors, I have not gotten any concerns about safety on that. I look at the traffic reports every month.
Right.
And there's nothing there.
Nothing there.
Now deer, that's another story, but yeah, nothing related to that. So that
I
I,
yield at the circle. The deer
Huh?
would be safe if
the deer would only yield at the circle, yeah.
Yeah. They never pay attention to those signs. I say that all the time.
No, they avoid the circles altogether. They have their roads. They have a few roads.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's working out fine and it lends some truth to, any new traffic pattern anywhere takes time to get used to.
Yeah.
So,
Excellent. So we have a motion on the floor. I believe, do we have any public comment regarding it? Anybody on the line? Not seeing any, so I'm gonna call to question. All those in favor, raise your hand and say aye. Aye. Opposed? None. Motion carries 4-0. And you got one more on there, sir.
yeah, the other one is the emergency repairs to the pool. As you know, the filter in the pool failed and had to be patched, had to be welded, this year. Thankfully, it lasted till the end of the pool season. Now we have to replace them. They're 40 years old. Replace it with one filter, which is a new type of a filter. It's an AFM filter, which contains somewhat of glass rather than sand. The price is rather steep, but we believe that we're going to have to do this, or this is just we're not going to open next year with this filter in that condition. The price is $222,629.52. And that includes everything involved in the replacement and all the parts for the pool filter.
Do I hear a motion?
Make a motion to approve quote from CoStar's vendor for water emergency pool repairs, replacing the filter and the pumps in the amount of $222,629.52.
I'll second.
Motion made by Supervisor Weiss, seconded by Supervisor Lewis. Just to confirm, Chief, the name of the vendor is,
Name of
called
the
If
vendor-
It's Water?
Yeah, it's IIW. It's called If It's Water.
If It's Water, okay. And then just a quick question. We're going from a sand system to a DE system? Is that what it is?
No, it's called an AFM system, and I have the brochure on it here. It's called activated filter material, and it's a somewhat of a glass product
Okay.
instead of using sand to filter.
Fiberglass.
Yeah,
fiberglass.
Yeah, yeah.
Is there a replacement of the fiberglass, like you would have with a, you might not know this, with a DE filter, or is there
I don't know.
additional costs? You don't know? Do you know what the effective lifespan of one of these pumps would be, or?
No, I do not.
Okay,
So just, do we know how long the old one lasted?
40 years.
Okay, so then that's its useful life.
Sure.
We should be real happy with that.
I would hope so.
Yeah, 40 years is.
Then again, back then, you could buy a refrigerator that would last 40
40
years. Now you buy one that lasts 4 years.
Yeah.
right? So,
On this one, is there a 15-year guarantee or something when I was going through the details from the manufacturer?
Filter includes a 15-year limited warranty.
Okay.
15-year limited warranty. So we should assume or plan for that the lifespan of this is 15 years, although we can hope for 40.
Limited warranties.
Limited warranty. So we-
and these are similar to what other pools are using, right? They're going to at
This
this
isn't
point?
even the largest, because I was looking online about this. Not that I'm planning a large pool, or a pool. if you
Yeah.
will. And
This is what though?
yeah, this would handle the
This is
pool.
what we'll handle
Yeah,
what we have.
The one thing the fiberglass thing, I don't know if anybody's been watching the news at all. If you buy one of those cheap mattresses, there's like fiberglass that's leaching out of it. So I'm like, well, is there any issue here? I don't think there, because they've tested, it's a different kind of fiberglass.
Yeah.
And it's in this it's a little more resilient than sand, which is part of although, you've gone through this as well.
Green.
Huh? It's good. It's green too.
It's literally green, not like.
Oh.
green,
Oh.
Eco green, sustainability.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any other comments or questions, Chief? Yes.
Yeah, so, thanks. I'm familiar with the stuff, but, 222K, that's obviously stiff. How are we proposing to pay for it?
Well, it can't come out of the pool revenue because there is no pool revenue. So we're going to have to try to tip into the relief fund money to pay for it.
So, how much? What do we have left in the fund? I'm just trying to think of other stuff we're
Yeah.
talking about, right?
Yeah, well, the last time we discussed it, it was 1.7.
So it'll be down to just under 1.
Yeah.
And then. I guess, high level, without getting the details, how'd the pool do this year? They just closed, so. Where are we at? Well,
Yeah, we're pretty much break even or under.
really, okay. A whole other conversation, I guess.
Yeah.
All right, and then do they, I know we mentioned the 15-year warranty. Do they have does it need, we have what do we have, the O&M agreement for this slide that we put in a few years back? Is that something that we would need to look at for something like this? Given do they have is that something that's even,
Yeah, I don't know.
it's a bunch of broken glass essentially, do they? And the equipment that goes with it, is that something they even offer? We would need to look at to maybe extend the lifespan.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll have to look at that.
Okay. So we just gotta be aware that if we want to open the pool, just so everyone watching at home understands, we want to open the pool next year. We gotta put out $222,000 to fix the filter, otherwise next year's a bust.
That's right.
And then, but we have to pay, the pool can't cover it. We didn't get enough revenue. Golf course can't cover it,
Mm-mm.
and so we're basically stuck with really fun money. Okay. Good to know.
Sure. Any other questions or comments? Any public comment? Hearing none, call to question. All those in favor, raise your hand and say aye. Aye. Opposed, none. Motion carries 4-0. Thank you very much, Chief.
Thank you.
Mr. Truelove.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, there was a An executive session to begin at 6:30 tonight. All supervisors are present at the executive session who are present at this meeting, along with my colleague and partner Barbara Kirk and outside counsel. Litigation items, real estate items, and informational items were discussed, and that executive session concluded around 7:20 or so when the interview of the prospective EAC member occurred, and then of course this meeting started after that. The only thing specifically under my report tonight is consider a resolution for acceptance of dedication of the public improvements of Flowers Field at Edgewood. Just to give everybody an idea where this is located, I know the board members know this, but this is the residential portion of the parcel at the corner of Stony Hill and Langhorne Yardley Road on the, I guess you would say, the northwest side. There are two streets that are being requested for dedication. They are Fieldstone Lane and Wildflower. We received a request from the developer to dedicate, and of course, Mr. Pokel's team went out, inspected. I believe all punch list items are satisfied. They have also secured and posted a maintenance bond for 18 months. So it appears that all necessary prerequisites to dedication have been met. So it'd be appropriate if the board is so inclined to pass the resolution for this, the acceptance of dedication of these public improvements.
Hear a motion?
So moved.
Clarify, it's Windflower, does that matter?
No, well, whatever, no, it's, you're right, it is, thank you for correcting, it is Windflower, yes, not Wildflower, because there's a Wildflower elsewhere, yes. This is Windflower, yes, the minute should reflect it's Fieldstone Lane and Windflower Road, thank you, yep.
Motion made by Supervisor Weiss. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Supervisor Grenier. Any discussion? Any public comment? Hearing none, call to question. All those in favor, raise your hand and say aye. Aye. Motion carries 4-0. You want to move over to zoning hearing, please?
Yes, zoning hearing board, there are three matters tonight. The first one, appeal number 22-1975, the Zubeda Foundation applies for property located at 855 Big Oak Road, tax parcel number 220-041-002. The applicant requests a variance from Township Zoning Ordinance 200-20 to allow a community center, a daycare, and funeral home as permitted uses in the R2 zoning district. Also from Township Zoning Ordinance 200-68.A7 to permit less than the required minimum lot area for a community center. Township Zoning Ordinance 200-22 to permit side and front yards of less than the required minimums. And Township Zoning Ordinance 200-23 to allow an increase in impervious surface to 24% from the existing 21%, where 18% is the allowable amount. There are a number of requests here. We would recommend participation mainly to ensure that certain agreements would be entered into as part of any approval with the zoning hearing board. So a board vote would be required if you want to participate or something else.
Make a motion to participate in appeal 22-1975.
Do I hear a second? Motion made by Supervisor Weiss, seconded by Supervisor Grenier. Any discussion? Any public comment? Hearing none. All those in favor, raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 4-0 to participate in zoning appeal 22-1975.
Thank you. The second one, appeal number 22-1976, Andrew Hipschman for the property located at 375 Hidden Oaks Drive, tax parcel 20-060-142. Applicant requests a variance from Township Zoning Ordinance 200-63.A to permit a building addition to be within 103 feet of the rear property line, whereas 120 feet is required. And the Township Zoning Ordinance 200-23.A to allow an increase in the impervious surface to 22.65% from the existing 16.69%, where 21% is the allowable amount. It is our recommendation to defer this to the zoning hearing board. The zoning hearing board has heard similar applications as this one. It doesn't require participation generally, although if the board feels inclined to do so, then they can vote to direct us to do that. Hearing no direction in that regard, the final item C 22-1977, Danielle Garcia and Mark Dickerson appeal for the property located at 15 Glen Olden Road, tax parcel 20-047-059. Applicant requests a variance from Township Zoning Ordinance 200-11.A5 to convert two of the garage buildings, 3 bays, to approximately 617 square feet of habitable space to permit a detached in-law suite as an accessory use to the principal residence. In the application, the applicant's attorney has also indicated that an agreement should be entered into for a deed restriction. Based upon that, we would recommend participation only for the purpose of ensuring that the deed restriction meets all the requirements and concerns of the township. So if the board is again so inclined, a vote to direct us to participate would be appropriate.
Make a motion for the township to participate in the appeal of 22-1977.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Motion made by Supervisor Weiss, seconded by Supervisor Grenier. Any discussion? Any public comment? Call to question. All those in favor, raise your hand and say aye. Aye. Motion carries 4-0 to participate in appeal 22-1977. Thank you very much. Mr.
Thank you, and that is my report.
Community Development. Nothing. General public comments. Does anybody have a general public comment they would like to say? None? Anybody on the line? Nobody on the line. Any discussion items? Okay, hearing none, we'll move over to supervisor reports. I will start with a huge announcement from the Parks and Recreation Board. They were approved as the first Park and Recreation Board in the state of Pennsylvania for CAPRA certification. It's a huge deal. I want to tip my hat to Monica, her team, members of the Park and Rec Board that have worked for this. It's probably been about an 18-month process. For any of you that don't know what CAPRA is, if you Google it, there's a very good explanation on it, but it's essentially is the only national accreditation of Park and Rec agencies. And it basically gives you a quality QC review of your current Park and Rec plan. So kudos to Monica and her team. Besides that, I have nothing else to report. Supervisor Weiss.
I have nothing to report.
Thank you, Supervisor Grenier.
All I have to report is that 3 of my committees will be meeting next week. Monday, the 12th is the Planning Commission. Tuesday, the 13th is HARB. And Wednesday, the 14th is the Historical Commission.
Excellent. Thank you, Supervisor Grenier. Supervisor Blondie is not with us tonight. Supervisor Lewis.
Yes, I have to report September 12th, the Trenton Mercer Airport Citizens Review Board will be meeting here. September 19th, the Citizens Traffic Commission will also be meeting as well.
Excellent.
That's
Thank
all I
you,
have.
Supervisor Lewis. Any other business? Appointments to boards and commissions. I believe we have a nomination.
Yes, sir. I would like to appoint Matt Farrell to the EAC.
Do I hear a second?
Absolutely. I'll second.
Motion made by Supervisor Weiss, seconded by Supervisor Grenier. Any discussion?
I asked the poor guy questions.
You couldn't answer, yes.
And I told him not to answer it. So on
He's-
that
And he
note,
still wants to do it.
yeah, so I said, yeah, we got it.
All right, call to question. All those in favor, raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, none. Welcome aboard, Matt. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
All those in favor, raise your hand, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, meeting is adjourned. Thank you.